Hey, children of all ages of our Redeemer, this is Pastor Dan with a all about Epiphany moment for you today. This is recorded on January 6th. That is the day of Epiphany. It's the day after the 12th day of Christmas. And Epiphany is a day in the church when we celebrate and we remember the arrival of the Magi coming to visit the Christ child in the manger. Now, I'm sure that many of your nativity scenes, you probably know you've got the three wise men or the three magi, or in some cultures they call them even the three kings. And you probably usually just, when you set up your nativity set, you put them all together. But in the actual story and the remembering of the arrival of the Magi, the wise men, they come later. And so in the church, we celebrate the day of the Epiphany as the arrival of the Magi. And the Epiphany is, it's a realization, it's an understanding, it's an aha moment, recognizing that who Christ truly is. Up until this point, Mary and Joseph, of course, knew about who Jesus was in terms of being the Son of God. The shepherds knew who Jesus was because the angels told them. But these magi who had been looking for this newborn king, they also confirm and tell the world in many ways, affirm everything that God had already said to both Mary and Joseph and to the shepherds, that Jesus, in fact, is not just an ordinary baby, but an extraordinary baby, both fully human, but also and also fully God. And so on Epiphany, we celebrate with a couple of different things. First of all, when we think about the Magi, they come to us in the story of Matthew's Gospel, but there's some things that we say about the Magi that aren't necessarily in that particular story. For example, tradition tells us that the Magi were given names, and we don't know from Scripture how many, in fact, there actually were. But because of the gifts that they bring, three gifts, which I'll talk about in just a minute, we give credence to that each Magi brought a gift. And so and those gifts, of course, we know to be gold and frankincense and myrrh. And the names that then later on were associated with those Magi. One was given the name Casper, which was it's a Persian name meaning somebody that is a treasurer or a treasure keeper. And the gift that Casper brought for the baby Jesus was the gift of myrrh. And what the gift of myrrh was is it would have been an incense, a smelling little gift of incense that could be used in perfumes or in oils. And it was often used in the time of Jesus as a way of helping those that were in need of healing or getting ready to be maybe to undergo suffering. And so the gift of myrrh that Casper brought would have been to foretell of the suffering that Jesus someday would face in a time leading up to his crucifixion and, of course, his crucifixion. The other Magi, named Melchior, that name means, it's a Jewish word meaning the king of light. And the gift that Melchior brought, traditionally talks about, was this gift of gold. And I've got a little bit of gold flakes here in this nice little glass plastic jar here. But the gift of gold, if we think about Jesus, of course, being a king, gold, a very precious commodity, would be a gift that is worthy of giving to a king. Now, you might think, why would a baby want any kind of gold? But the symbolism, of course, of being that precious commodity of gold, a gift truly fit for a king. And then finally, the last Magi, his name was Balthasar, and that's the Hebrew word that can either mean God save his life or God will help. And the gift that Balthasar brought was another gift of incense, and particularly frankincense, which looks a little bit like that. And this particular incense, frankincense, would have been used as an offering in the temples, as a prayer offering, as part of a, giving up to God their prayers and their sacrifices. And so the gift of incense, of course, indicates something divine. And so we see gifts of myrrh to remember Jesus' humanity, gifts that are fit for a king, to think about how Jesus was a king, and gifts of frankincense because Jesus is also God, and particularly God's Son. One of the other traditions that happens with the day of Epiphany is, if you think about the Magi being these people that traveled from afar and safely came to visit and to pay their respects to Jesus, they have often been in tradition those that folks maybe have prayed to or have asked for them to help protect them on their travels. And so one of the traditions that happens after the first of the year at Epiphany is this idea of chalking one's door, and to put this marker above your door. And you can see there's a combination of numbers and letters. The first number there, of course, you can see is 20, and then on the other side is 2022 or 22. So for the year 2022, and you see the CMB, and you might think, that must be for Casper and Melchior and Balthasar, but it actually is Latin for the phrase Christus mansionem benedicat, which means Christ bless this house, or Christ bless us. And so in Epiphany, as we learn who Christ truly is, both Son of God and Son of Man, we ask for Christ to bless us and to look after us. And so here now on this day of Epiphany, when we celebrate and recognize who Jesus truly is and remember who he truly is, we ask for him to bless us. And so if you've got some chalk at your house, I'd encourage you with your family to go ahead and above the top part of your door, to go ahead and put this symbol out there, 20 CMB 2022. And the next time you're at the church, I hope you'll take a look at the front door and see if you can find it there. But have a happy Epiphany, folks, and I hope you all had a great holiday, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.